Hey, good evening. Today I want to talk about some some st- um, stories on Krishna and Buddha. As you know, with this channel of mine, I'm on a spirit quest, a spirit journey, and I see at this point in my life, this part of my life, I have more questions than answers, and I was introduced to Christianity in my 20s, and I never really questioned religion. But at this point in my life, I am questioning um, what I believe, what I was told about life and God, and it's a weird thing, but I believe that there's answers out there. Um, Well, today I was looking up the deity Krishna. He's of the Hindu religion, uh, primarily practiced in India. And the other is Buddhism, or the Buddha. And he was an actual person. And I found it interesting that you have two people that actually lived, that they were born, and then they died. And yet, they're at least with Hinduism, um, he's actually revered as a god, and or the reincarnation of Vishnu, which is a major god. Okay, or some people call him the Avatar. But what I noticed when I was reading some things on like Wikipedia, it mentioned that um, he had an uncle, and the uncle had how do you say, his uncle took the throne, and the his sister was it was told that she would have 8 sons, and that the 8th son will kill him. And in a nutshell, that's what happens. But there's a whole drama in between. But in a nutshell, the prophecy was fulfilled, and that also this guy, Krishna, the 8th son, um, was to be like a savior. And interesting, the term Krishna sounds like the word Christ, but it just it doesn't, it actually means like in Sanskrit that it means a dark color, or black, or even a dark blue. So when you look at pictures of Krishna, renderings of him, they show him, the very old renderings, they have him with black skin. But now, more modern pictures, they show him as a light blue person. But either way, um, now I thought it was interesting that it was a prophecy, and that his birth, even though his mother had children prior to him, um, it still was, uh, I got the impression the that God had, um, reincarnated in the womb, put the life in the womb, and so it wasn't a virgin birth, but it was attributed to God, and so I thought it was interesting because with Christianity, Mary, who was the mother of Jesus in Christianity, um, she was to be of the son was to be of a virgin birth. And so either way, there was um, an, an intervention, through natural means, or at least the spirit of that God indwelt in the body of the child. And so I see similarities there, and both of them were born in hope for deliverance. Um, as for Krishna, Krishna was born at a time where his uncle was, they said that like they used the term sin, and that they were hoping that you would have someone to remove this sin and to destroy his uncle. The uncle had taken the throne by force, and so it just sounds so similar, like with the Jesus, and when Jesus also, I mean, there was a prophecy, and what they call the wise men, and they came to Jerusalem, and they spoke to King Herod, who's king over the Jewish people, and at the time of the Roman colonization of Israel, and the prophecy was that there was going to be a new a new ruler to save the people from their oppressors. So both children, were born in hope for deliverance, and the being born through God is also another parallel between the two stories. And so it just got me thinking, how in religion there's so many similarities. And so you wonder, how, because the two religions are thousands of years apart, and so how could you have such a similar story, and that it's a desire for deliverance. And even today, like with the Hebrew Israelites, that the common theme that they want deliverance too from their oppressors. And so it seems like in world history that you have people who are suffering, The next thing I want to talk about is with Buddhism. And he also was a man, and the Buddha was born of like nobility, a royal family. His father was a king. So again, with Hinduism, Krishna also was born in a royal family. The royal family, and so with Buddha, the father of Buddha, well, they call him Buddha. That's not his name. That's a title also. It means the enlightened one. But his first name was Siddhartha, and I forget the last name. But it was a person, and it was prophesied to his father that the son will not want to take the throne, and the prophecy did come about, and that's what happened. And this man Siddhartha, who we know as the Buddha, or Buddha, he was on a spirit quest, just like I am, and he lived, let's see, about the 3rd century BC. He was born in Nepal, that's north of India, and then then his family brought him to southern India, and that's where he was raised. And he, let's see, he was on a spiritual quest, and and in India at this time that they did what do you call it, meditations there, and they said one of his meditations, he was determined for enlightenment. He was becoming he was discouraged about the things that he saw in his environment, the state of people and everything. He had a sensitive soul. I would that's how I would explain it. And he wanted relief. He wanted understanding and enlightenment. It mentioned in this thing I read that he almost died because he was fasting, and he wasn't eating or drinking, and it said that it nearly killed him. And then it mentioned something about him meditating within a fig tree, and he gets this enlightenment. It would have been great if they explained more in detail how was this meditation different from the other one that almost killed him when he was doing the fast, and how long when he was in the under the fig tree, how long was he doing his meditation, and what form of meditation, how did he do it? But it said that he found enlightenment, and the whole point of this was, in their philosophy that, we live and then we die, and then we get reincarnated, and when is it going to stop this cycle? And so he believed that he reached a point that he would no longer have to continue the cycle of life and death, and you reach your top, So, what was the parallel with him now? Well, I thought it was interesting that, again, you have prophecy. You had other people being of interest, showing interest in somebody else, and that they were going to be doing something, and that the other person may not have wanted them to. In this case, the Buddha, he didn't want to take the throne, and he wanted this spiritual enlightenment, and the Father didn't want that for him. Just losing train of thought now. So I guess I wonder what all this means, that we're all on a spirit journey, and you start to think that, that's just my dog walking on the bed. Yeah, I have 3 little ones, and they're all, in bed, on bed with me. So my apologies if they start barking or get in the way of the video. But I was just fascinated how, that we all seem to have something in common, that here people back, over 2,000 years ago, had struggles. They had concerns, and what they wanted to, how they went about trying to find this relief, and how people who, hear of these people and they worship them, And so I started to ask myself, well, I don't want to worship anybody, that these are people, and I would like to find this enlightenment like they have. So, I like the idea of what they call meditation. I mean, like, it seems like when I read different literature, I've read the Bible through, and then I might go online and read about other religious beliefs, or, different trends that are happening today. And it can get you feeling, scattered, that there's so many different thoughts and different opinions and everything. And sometimes there's just contradictions. And I got frustrated with it. And this one YouTuber explains that, try to go within. And I think that might be a very good idea. I like the idea of going within, but I find at times that I'm in avoidance. Like, I wanted to just be able to do this, what they call meditation, to relax the mind, and as they say, that your desire is to get insight or something, or what they call an altered state, and just to get in some type of spiritual realm. And I don't know. I see that I'm just like anybody else, and I'm human, and most of us, we just live everyday lives, nothing supernatural, whatever. But I feel that there's more to life than meets the eye. That I think life is more than just what we see. I have talked to different people, and some of them have shared with me certain, I guess you would call it supernatural, but beyond the, things out of the ordinary. And I believe that some of these things can be true, So I guess for me, I want to find out what's out there. But not everything that's out there is good for you, and some things are dangerous. You have, like in the Christian belief system, that you have deceiving spirits. You have things that impersonate other things, and it's to trick you and to ultimately destroy you, And again, it's a belief system, but sometimes you even talk to people in other faiths, who spirituality, and like they mention about that certain spirits are not, are not benevolent, and they actually are harmful, and that, like in certain meditations or you doing certain rituals, you have to, they say, anoint yourself, and do certain things to protect yourself. So they too are saying, so the common denominator is that outside of this realm, you have things. Some are good and some are bad, So I wonder how you know whether or not you really, whether something is of God in a nutshell. Okay? I mean, you have even in, like, monks who do the prayers and stuff, and you have churches and people might pray or maybe get into a trance, and some people in church, they seem like they, that something's not right about them, that you can sense something about them, that, something, not wholesome within them, So I guess, the common denominator that in anything, in some spiritual quest, you have to protect yourself spiritually. So I wonder how you really I wonder how you excel. How do you know whether or not you have the truth? You know, I see with me that um, it seems like the more you hear, the more that your belief system changes or is altered, you know. So if you learn 100 new things, you have a 100 different outlooks or different angles to a subject, you know. Um, so I guess maybe you know, it's always evolving, you know, that knowledge is infinite, and some things are circumstantial, you know, like I'm living today, I'm living in this country, you know. If I was living in a different country, I would probably have a different outlook. Or let's say if um, you experience, let's say it was a drought or something, or some natural disaster, or let's say a warfare happens in your immediate area where you live, you're probably going to have a different outlook on life. You know, our experiences, you know, whether it's good or bad. And this affects our spirit journey, or what our belief system is, you know. So, again, I guess in short, I see that in religious traditions such as um, Hinduism and Christianity, the similarities between you know, Jesus and Krishna, and then with Buddhism and Hinduism, that both people came from a high status, you know, a royal type of family, and you know, that the one was seeking enlightenment, the other one was considered to be a savior. You know, that Christianity and Hinduism, both religions seem to focus on the desire for liberation from the oppressor. So I guess it's making me think that this, you know, I guess when you have different traditions but they have similar stories, I guess in a nutshell that is it just that, a story, you know? So story or not, you can learn from the principles. You know, one thing with the Bible, the Old and the New Testament, that is filled with principles, and you know, principles don't die. You know, you know, the words could change, and you know, different practices, but the principles behind scriptures, you know, that you can live by. You know. Yeah, because religion can change, but principles don't change, you know, and I think principles are designed by God, you know, and that the world was created with principles in mind. It's innate in them, you know. So part of me is a little worried about saying no to Christianity, but I know that there's more to what the church says, that words on a page isn't what saves us, you know, but principles, living a life of its principles, you know, you honor your parents and you love your neighbor as yourself, you know. Those are principles that you could take anywhere with you on this world, you know. You have people who go to churches and they have no love in their heart, you know. We've all seen it. We've all seen hypocrisies in standardized religions. I don't want religion anymore. I want to go beyond religion. I want to really learn about the different mysteries out there in life, that we have, that we live on this planet, and it it has its story. It has so many stories, and I want to find out what they are, because I know life is more than this, and I believe that our current situation is the residue, so to speak, of the things that happened in the past, the far past. So, again, this is just I'm just sharing my thoughts with you, and let me know what you think. How you're approaching your spirit journey. So again, peace and joy. Take care. Bye-bye.